Hey, this is Scott, Franchiseinsight.net. Today I'm going to break this into two parts because it's a little lengthy, but I want to get into a sales discussion, okay? And as I break this into two parts, the parts are going to be this: one call close and the more consultative, longer tail decisioning around a sales close. So today, one call close. So let's start with the fact that in this scenario, you're selling home services to residential areas, or maybe it's a B2B, you're selling some marketing solutions through your franchise or small business. One call close means you're going to close them the one time you go out and visit with them. And if you don't, the percentages are not great that you're going to get the sale. I think it's less than 5%. Not to say you shouldn't have a great follow-up process in place, be it part of your CRM outreach with email or the old-fashioned get on the phone and follow up with people, right? So please continue to follow up even though the numbers are low, and sometimes you can come up with a process or solution that gets people back engaged. So stick with whatever you're doing and test different things, but you know that you had a lead and it just didn't work out that moment you called on them. Keep getting after them. All right, now one call close. Typically going to run into, one of these four objections or maybe all four of them, depending on who you're talking to, right? But they're I need to think about it, need to do some more research or get some other pricing, need to talk to my significant other, or some people will be honest and say it's price. A lot of times I need to think about it ultimately ends up price. That's where you kind of got to dig and creatively through your conversation with folks, make sure you understand really what's going on so you're addressing the right objection. So as you look to do that, the first thing is let's go to appointment setting. So out of the gate, one of the objections that they need a spouse, a significant other to be there to help make a decision. Let's eliminate that as best we're able by making sure all decision makers are going to be present at the appointment. There's no escape from that, or there's still escape, but at least you've kind of shut the door, so to speak, on the one where I need to check with somebody else. Also, you're answering everybody's questions in one session so that there's not a bunch of follow-up and then the spouse has questions and all that good stuff. You're able to confidently talk about your solution, your product, with everybody that needs to make a decision. So if during the appointment setting, and it isn't always going to work, but when possible, make sure everybody's going to be there. All right, now let's jump over to the sales script. The sales script, and I'm going to call it a script, but this is really your outline. This is your game plan going into every call. It shouldn't be robotic. It shouldn't be that you've memorized every line. It should be very natural and conversational. But when you get to an appointment, I think it's important to set the agenda, okay? It's important to let folks know, hey, I'm Scott. I'm here to do X, Y, Z, and we're going to talk about what's going on with your problem or whatever you need help with. And I'm going to make sure it's a good fit for what we do for us to do this project for you. And at the end of all of that, I'm going to give you a fair price. And we're just looking for a simple yes or no at that point to move forward. So you've kind of laid it out all the way to, you're looking for a decision. Now, at that point, somebody may go ahead and go, well, I'm a person that just doesn't make a decision same day. Well, you say, I get that, and acknowledge it, okay? Whatever the objections are, you always want to acknowledge and sincere. Okay, this is a sincere exercise. And again, if somebody raises that objection out of the gate, you at least know what you're kind of working with as you get through the call. So as you go through your discussion with this person, the agenda, let's say you are in the business of installing fences, and I'm going to use that because I have an experience I'm going to share as part of this today. So you're in the fence business, you show up. You've had an agenda introduction, got a little bit of rapport going on with the person. You look around and you see they have some dogs, because that's what you do. You look around and you see exactly what's going on, and you can say, Susan, I see you got these active dogs. I totally get why you want a fence to look out for their safety. Okay, so you've kind of got that going. Then you maybe want to find out how long has this problem or this desire to fix whatever's going on, how long has it been something they're thinking about? And she'll probably say, about 3 or 4 months now. Okay. So now you got a timeline and you know why she wants the fence, or maybe she brought up a couple other reasons she wants the fence. The more you let people talk, the more they kind of end up selling themselves, so to speak. So in the case of a fence, it's not quite as obvious why they want the fence unless you see something like dogs or kids or maybe something else you've noticed. If you're a roofer and you see roof damage, it becomes more apparent, easier to get into a discussion about, wow, that looks like it's about a year old. Or you've asked them when you come out, why'd you have us out today? And they say, well, you see that? It's been up there for a year and it looks like it might be, lead to a leak. And then they've kind of sold it. So now they know they have a problem. They know they need it fixed. That's the first part of this because it helps eliminate the logic, anyway, behind an objection. Not to say they're still not going to raise it, but you've at least gotten around that so that at the end, if they go, they need to think about it, you can go back to that point and say, your dogs, you've said 3 months now, you've been kind of thinking about it and worried about the dog. Susan, let us take care of this for you. Okay, so you'll come up with your points. The reason I bring these up is you want to know these 4 objections, and there are maybe others for what you do. Know what they're going to be so that you're prepared to talk about them. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of blend how this fence company really just shut down all the objections for what they did in quoting for me. Okay, so they eliminated I need to research it, I need to price it, and that price, is an issue. They went ahead and they let me know they're going to be higher. But they said, Scott, here's what we do. We've done this a long time. They had great reviews. So, as a foundation, you got to have all those things in place. You got to have a great team, a great business, great reviews, testimonials. If not, you need to have those things worked on before you can ever sell value and eliminate these types of objectives by confidently talking about what you do, being the expert, and being able to brag about all the great testimonials and reviews that you have. So this is what the company did. They said, Scott, we know we're going to be a little bit higher. We're usually about 5%. Been doing this for a long time. Here's what we know about this business. We know that after about a year, 5% of the boards are going to warp. And at the end of year 1, you're on our calendar. We're going to come back out and we're going to fix those boards. And that could be anywhere from $300 to $600, $700, depending on how much fence we put in for folks. So we know we're going to come back and do that. So what have they done there? They've quickly, for the most part, gotten out of the pricing bracket because they've demonstrated an expertise in what they've done by telling me about how many boards, this is just something that's going to happen. It's going to warp. So now I feel, okay, these folks, they know what they're doing. They've brought up something no one else has brought up. They've told me how they're going to fix it. So now I know that when I do have this problem, it's going to be part of their warranty. And they've also helped themselves because now I'm not calling them at month 6 and saying, hey, I got these warped boards. No, they know it's going to happen. It'll be minimal. It's not going to be warped to the point the fences, dogs are running through cracks in the fence. If that happens, then I am calling them. But they've at least eliminated that when I see little warping, I know my guys, they're going to come on out, and girls, whoever installs the fence, come on out, and they're going to fix everything. So they really helped themselves in this scenario with that. So what I would encourage you to do is, again, make sure your sales discussion addresses objections on the front end so that they are eliminated for the most part on the back end, or at least you can tie back into the discussion of how, hey, this is what you told me in the beginning. You told me you were ready to take care of this. You told me, a lot of times you want to ask somebody, well, how soon do you want to do this project? Again, you're getting that kind of commitment and that buy-in that they know they have a problem, they know they want it fixed, and you know why they want it fixed, for the safety of their animals or because they don't want their roof to leak. So make sure the sales script is solid, addresses everything as best you're able on these potential objections that are going to come up. Then you're going to want to make sure that you are prepared to address the objections. And when I say prepared, go ahead and think about these unique selling or unique values that you maybe bring to the table. Here's a great one. If you're in home services and it's your install crew and not somebody else's third party, man, I would be talking that up out of the gate. Well, a lot of the folks that are in this line of work, you don't have to be negative or beat up on anybody else in the industry by name or anything. But if it's just general practice that most of the labor is outsourced, well, I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying it's a positive for you if these are your folks. Or if they're not your employees and you at least have a project manager on site, then that's a great point. It's our staff that oversees the team. You can say it creatively like that. You're not lying. You're not it's your team, because they probably are people that, even though they're third party, they probably have you've vetted them and they work for you and you have confidence in them. But at the end of the day, if they are truly your payroll people, and you can say, hey, another reason we're more expensive is because this is our staff. We're not going to be out next week putting in windows, installing gutters. We're fence people, or we're roof people. And that's what we do. Our crew's expert at this. We do it day in and day out. And that's why, we charge what we charge. Got a great warranty. We got great referrals. So have all of those things ready, and it should serve you well. So if you're in the market to buy a business, or again, a small business or franchise, come to franchiseinsight.net. Maybe you have a cousin that wants to buy a small business or franchise. Send them to franchiseinsight.net. We'll have a 10-minute discussion at no cost about their unique buying opportunity. From that point, we will then see if the 2-hour structured discussion, 8 points, 8 key points that need to be part of your decision-making process, because nobody is looking out for you. I'm sure you've talked to friends and business partners and everybody else, and you think you got it figured out, and hopefully you got 80, 90% of it figured out. But if that 10% ties to a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 misstep, that's why I'm here. The paid service, $300, is eclipsed by the misstep that potentially will be identified during this session, or the additional opportunities to generate revenue through other logical tie-ins of services that can be added to your business. Those are other things that we talk about. Thanks for hanging out. Part 2 will be, again, about the longer sales process, where you have more of a consultative selling opportunity. Thanks for hanging in. Be back soon.